It's back and bigger than ever. It's the unofficial 40 from Soonerscoop.com. Presented by the Choctaw Casino and Resort in Durant. Now, here's the entire Sooner Scoop crew. Carey, Josh, Eddie, and Bob.
We are back. It is the unofficial 40 right here on Soonerscoop.com podcast, and we welcome you back in as the Sooners get ready to hit the road for the first time. As we get ready to hit the road for the first time, headed up to Ames, Iowa. I have the credentials right here. I cannot get the orchestra to stop playing, and now they have. We're headed on our way. I'm a little worried about the hurricane, boys.
Why?
Travel.
Why? We don't have to go anywhere near the East Coast.
Yeah, but flights, once they get backed up in one part of the country,
they don't get backed up.
It affects the other part of the country.
No way. I refuse to believe that. If we have any trouble,
will we be abandoning
with
ship and driving at some point? That's my concern.
No. If we have any trouble with airlines this weekend, I will have a meltdown.
Yeah, you've come close before. I would say in Atlanta over the summer, I was a little worried you were going to get thrown into jail.
I almost said the B word. You were very
close.
Try to bring a bomb into this place. You can't say bomb.
I thought you were going to say bitch.
No, you can't say bomb on the on an airplane. Meet the Fockers.
Bomb.
It's incredible to me, the people that work at an airport. I think they're the dumbest human beings to ever walk the face of the earth.
I don't know that they're dumb. Sometimes, like that dude in Atlanta was on a power trip.
Yeah, he
made us take every little piece of anything out of our bag.
Bro, I flew here.
Yeah.
They didn't make me do this.
I've never had someone tell me I had to take every piece of camera equipment out of my bag. Eddie has a lot of camera equipment, so he was very close to melting down.
Some people these days.
And all I could think of is, oh, God, if Eddie gets arrested, do I have to stay here or can I go home? I think I would have just let you be on your own. I'm just saying, that's the deal right now.
I would have called my lawyer.
The deal right now is, Eddie, if you get arrested by TSA, I get to go. I get to leave. I don't have to stay.
I wouldn't want you to stay.
Well, trust me, that's the last thing I want to do.
I need a lawyer. I would need a lawyer.
I don't know if you can lawyer up with TSA. I think you just, Homeland Security shows up, they put you in a room, and then you either go to jail or you don't.
TSA does nothing for this country.
It's because it's the day after 9/11. You're just being difficult.
Well, we still don't have answers on Building 7, but that's just neither here nor there.
I don't know if you...
Look forward to our trip to Ames, Iowa this weekend.
So we're going through St. Louis, right? Yeah.
Shittiest town in America.
I don't think St. Louis is very underrated. Ronnie Perkins is going to kick your ass now.
He's probably a Cardinals fan.
So that's what it is. Oh, God, they're showing Iowa State, Oklahoma highlights right now on your television. You know, guys, I looked this up. By the way, want to remind everybody out there, there is a new post-game podcast. We will be post-game podcasting from Ames, Iowa, or Des Moines, one or the other. So we want you guys to go sign up. Look on iTunes. Just look up Oklahoma Sooners postgame, and you'll find it there. It's the Soonerscoop.com, Oklahoma Sooners postgame. Look for Soonerscoop.com. iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, SoundCloud, TuneIn, Oklahoma Sooners postgame. But if you go and subscribe to that, then you'll get it faster. And that's good because, like, if you're wanting something Saturday night, it's going to post late. Like, I think we posted about 11:30 or so, 11 this Saturday night because we didn't start till 8. So go subscribe. It's very important you subscribe if you want to get it as quickly as possible. So that's my and thanks to Eskridge Lexus for making that available.
Number one podcast in the country.
It has been. Although that's kind of BS. I mean, I don't want to rain on the parade, but iTunes kind of does that for new podcasts.
I don't believe
Like,
you.
I've seen it when noobs who have podcasts start bragging about, oh, I'm in the top 50 in podcasts.
We have the number one
iTunes
podcast
kind
in
of
the
does
country.
that for you and your new podcast. We did, well, not in the country. We had the number 10 in the country.
It was the number one in the country.
I think we had the 153rd overall in the country when you took all podcasts together.
Top 200.
Which is not bad. To say you're the number 153 all-time podcast.
It's better than being a character on YouTube.
Anyway.
Yes.
So, go subscribe to that pod. Thanks to Eskridge Lexus in Oklahoma City. Thanks to Ed Eskridge and all those guys for supporting us.
Feeling pretty good today.
Who's feeling pretty good?
I am. I think this is going to be a good podcast.
I can tell you're kind of juiced up.
Just had 4 shots of espresso at Starbucks.
I took
said,
a
sir,
nap.
do you need anything with that? I said, no, I'm just going straight to the dome, sir.
So we're headed to Ames, Iowa. Josh, once again, we had another week without you on the post-game podcast. Did you want to call and just say, hey, you guys need me? Anything like that?
I kind of figure I'm like, if they want me to do it, they'll like hit me up because I know you guys you're juggling so much after the game. I'm like, if they have time for me, they'll get around to me. So I try not to I got the impression that I came off a little diva-ish last week, and that was not my intention. If people want me there, if you guys want me there, I'll do it. If not, it's no big deal. There's plenty of avenues for me to spread my general idiocy.
I'm telling you, after last week, I'm a big fan of people getting out of character. Like Bob was, by the way, we had our moderated press conference. Thanks, Bob.
I win.
Bunch of snowflakes. We got to sit there and wait to be called on now. It's the first time that's ever happened to me.
Raise your hand.
Stupid.
It's like anything. A few assholes screwed up for everybody.
I wasn't one of the assholes, though. That's my problem.
No, I know that this is the world we live in. Like Eddie with his TSA problems. Most people are perfectly fine on a plane. A few assholes ruin it for everybody.
I think he just called Eddie an asshole.
No, Eddie's not.
No.
Oh, no, you're calling the terrorists
other people.
assholes.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yes, they ruin the assholes.
Talking about the Muslims, Carey.
God.
Is it racist?
Is this segment racist? We started
I
we started out early last week.
Are
Kill,
terrorists
thousands of
racist?
people.
Discuss.
Are terrorists racist? I would say yes.
Yeah, I think that's almost definition.
It's a given.
Or are they
True.
Or what is it? What would
Religiously
be
intolerant?
Yeah. I don't know that it's race, but they just hate Christians. I mean, those particular terrorists.
Yeah.
Obviously, there are Christian awful
And America.
people.
So
Yeah.
Next week, we'll go over my top 5 favorite terrorists of all time.
Cool.
I'll give you a preview.
Is this-
Number 6, Joel Osteen.
Olstein? Joel Osteen is
Whatever
number
his name
5
is.
on your
No, he's
list
number
of
6.
Number
characters?
six.
Oh,
He's number 6.
He didn't make the cut.
Next week, I'm doing top 5.
Number 6 with a bullet, though.
Yeah.
Okay, Josh,
Mr. Temple.
Mr. Houston, did I see where they gave him recognition for the flooding or something?
He locked his doors.
Yeah.
How did he get recognition?
Is that true, Josh, or was that fake news that I didn't bother to look up on Snopes?
I have not heard that because he got roasted while that was happening because the damn
rightfully
mattress
so.
guy opened up his place.
That mattress dude is awesome.
He's freaking amazing.
But
he's
that
always
was
doing
also
stuff
the
for
greatest
the
business plan of all time.
Yeah,
The best
he's
advertising.
really
He got
awesome.
national advertising.
Well, not next to Nike.
True.
By the way, did you see that a small college in Georgia officially cut ties with Nike today?
Oh, no.
But the problem was they have no ties to cut with Nike.
Oh, they didn't. They weren't ever.
They weren't a Nike
They were just
school.
going to Walmart to buy
yeah,
Nike stuff.
they had Nike stuff in their gift shop, and they were like, we're no longer selling Nike.
Nike came out
And we're going to donate all proceeds from all 7 of our shirts to Wounded Warriors.
That's awesome.
And half their team quit.
I don't even think they play sports. It's a 2,600 enrollment college in Cleveland, Georgia.
Ooh.
I just don't know, how does an athletic department take that stance? We're going to alienate about 80% of our entire athletic department if we could do that.
Well, the president contacted CBS News on their behalf.
Oh, God.
If you look up Cleveland, Georgia University, I can tell you what the name of it was. So, yeah. We got that We got that going on out in the world.
Truett McConnell.
Yes, it was Truett McConnell University.
That's the type of university, if you play athletics there, you literally don't tell anybody that you play athletics for them.
Yeah, you
probably don't even tell people. You probably just tell people that you go to Georgia.
Yeah, like UCO guys, they got a chance to walk on at Oklahoma. Those guys, like no one that has ever played football that anyone has heard of gave those guys any opportunities.
Speaking of UCO, how about that kid that lost his foot
off?
Is that not the craziest story of all time?
Fall asleep on the train tracks? I didn't read
it. I think there's a lot of questions being answered, but I think that he maybe was drunk or something. That was insane.
He's been watching the program on a loop.
The program.
Joe Kane. Kane is able.
They just laid in the middle of the street, though. You remember they had to take that scene out of the movie because kids were doing
that? They did take it out.
Well, isn't there a scene where they're down at the train tracks, though? I know what you're talking about with laying in the street.
I don't remember that.
I don't remember that.
Okay, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I need it.
No, Josh, you're right. Joe Kane stands in front of the train, and they're all freaking out.
Yeah. I was like, I thought I remembered that. But
we do not recommend doing that on this podcast.
Stay out of the train tracks, kids.
Okay, so Eddie was very pumped up yesterday because we had defensive availability. And like
really
we could literally just play Curtis Lofton talking to the media.
Bolton, dang it!
This is becoming a thing.
Curtis Bolton. Damn it! I like him that much.
All right. He's playing like Curtis Lofton. Jesus.
This has become the new Seibert. By the way, he was not Ray Guy, punter of the week. Is it? I mean, was the Big 12 just that bad this week? Because I didn't think Kyler Murray really. I didn't look at that performance and say, yeah, he'll be the Big 12 player of the week.
The numbers, when you look at it, not when you watch the game, but when you look at the numbers,
that's the most Big 12 thing of all time. Yeah. Let's just give it to the guy with the best statistics from the weekend.
He got the Walter Camp Award. It wasn't just the conference. The entire nation just looked at the numbers.
And Will Greer played a bunch of rum-dums from Youngstown State.
Who lost to Butler the week before.
Youngstown State lost to Butler Community College?
No, they lost to Butler in
University.
Indiana.
I was like,
I didn't even know
schedule.
Butler had a football team.
I didn't either. Well, I think they did that because they're hoping to go Division I in football at some point.
Do you guys take that as a positive that, like, Kyler Murray, I mean, like, I think people have gone too far in the other direction, like he played poorly or something. I know that's not what you're saying, but I keep reading this stuff like, well, that's just crazy because he didn't do this, he didn't do that. He still played really well, but he did leave some stuff out there on the field. Like, to me, it's more like, wow, this could be really special because Oklahoma scored 49 points against a Power 5 defense.
Well,
and didn't look that good.
You know what it is? It's just that he is his standard is Baker Mayfield. Like, it was not you wouldn't watch Baker Mayfield play that game and say, oh, he had a really good game. You would say he had an off day.
When you're 19 of 33 coming after Baker, it looks like you weren't on.
And he missed the 2 short throws.
And he had batted balls.
He threw the interception. He only had 2 batted balls. Like, people are making it out like every other pass got knocked down at the line of scrimmage. He had 2 batted balls out of 35, 33 throws.
And, I mean, look at the
throw to CeeDee Lamb down the sideline was
a bad
beautiful.
Throw.
No, that was a beautiful throw.
Oh, no,
I'm talking about the
one that Lamb jumped for.
Oh, yeah. That was a bad throw. And then the touchdown pass was a great throw. But, I mean, he threw that interception. He threw the first CeeDee Lamb catch was behind him. He had to one-hand it. He was a little bit off, but still put up good numbers. Really, I think what you take from that game is that CeeDee Lamb, we knew he was good. He's on the verge of becoming a superstar.
Yeah. I think that's we talked about that a little bit before the season started. He's going to have a massive year, and I think he's going to have a bigger year than Marquise Brown.
You see those UCLA guys like shaking his hand after the game going, we'll see you in the NFL.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It's just going to be about how defenses play them. Either you're going to try to stop Brown or try to stop Lamb. You're not going to be able to stop both.
Well, and I guess we're burying the lead a little bit in that Rodney Anderson was announced to be out for the season, which we thought was most likely.
Yeah, we said on the postgame that OU's probably going to have to move on without Rodney Anderson the rest of the season. I don't think that was a surprise if that was announced on Sunday night, but
and there's been a little bit, I don't know, can you call it overreaction that people are predicting doom and gloom?
No, because you don't know what Trey Sermon can do in that number one spot. He's so used to being, a little time here, a little time there, and then run him over in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
Is he going to be able to do that in the first and second quarter?
There's no doubt. There's no doubt.
I was going the other way. I think there's too many people that are just saying, they'll be fine.
But, people forget, the reason that Abdul Adams, when he got hurt last year at Iowa State, that was such a big blow is because until Rodney Anderson came on, Trey Sermon wasn't really a number one back. Like Bob said, they figured out his role was bringing him in the second half and being the sledgehammer. And
then he fumbled against Cyclones too when he was thrust into that spotlight.
Yeah, inside the 6. If OU goes in and scores, they're up 31-17 last year.
But I don't think Marcelius Sutton is a number one back. He's impressed me, and he's playing better, but he's a change-up guy, too.
He's really good.
I'm admitting that. But I don't think he's a number one back.
No. And the thing is,
I'm not there yet.
He has 9 carries in two games against mostly backups. So I don't know what he's going to do when the competition level steps up a notch or two.
I think overall, though, it's just a really almost kind of sad story for Rodney Anderson, just as far as third season-ending injury in 4 years. It seems like he just hasn't. He's just some people are just snake bit, and he might be a little snake bit.
He is alive, though.
There's no doubt he's snake bit. He's missed 3 out of 4 seasons,
and 2 of them were just bizarre injuries. It's not like the normal, shoulder or knee or whatever. It's been weird stuff.
One was on a kickoff.
Yeah.
Yep. Not like kick coverage either, but kickoff, right?
I want to say it might have been kick
return. Coverage. It was kick return.
No, it was kickoff. It was a kickoff.
It was
he was running down to tackle people.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure.
So it was kick coverage.
Okay, I was thinking it was
return.
Yes.
I thought it was return because OU didn't score at all.
Oh yeah,
against
true.
Tennessee.
They didn't
until
score in the
late.
first quarter or first half.
And I don't think it was like the initial play of the game, opening kickoff.
Yeah, I think you're right, Bob. I don't. Yeah.
So here's a bold prediction for you. TJ Pledger is the number one back
by the end of the year.
By the end of the year.
I think you might be right on that. I've been really. He's farther ahead than where I expected him to be. Just watching him, he runs really hard. It impresses me every time he gets the ball.
And that's sort of what happens with an injury. Next guy steps up.
All right.
Do you think there's a chance that he immediately passes Sutton as the number 2?
No, because they like what Sutton's doing. And
okay.
Now if he fumbles or something,
Sure.
Jay Boulware has proven that he'll yank your ass and lose faith in you awfully quick, which is the reason Abdul Adams isn't here anymore. We can sugarcoat it all we want. That's why he's not here. He and his family probably felt they were unfairly, or that he was unfairly put in the doghouse.
His dad said as much.
Yeah.
And that's such a
right,
weird deal because, as much as I liked Abdul, and I think I was pretty much fan number 1, he wasn't doing what Rodney did at the end of last year. No way.
And that's the thing. You keep waiting. Jay Boulware likes to pull the guys after they fumble. Rodney never, ever fumbled.
Yeah, Eddie put that stat out there yesterday.
Maybe the greatest stat of all time. I was pretty proud of myself.
By the way, do any of us think that there's any chance that he comes back to OU?
No.
None.
Wouldn't that be the reason why you wouldn't say the injury? It was a little weird what Riley explaining the family didn't want to release the.
But it's the NFL.
I kind of figured that was more the NFL side of it. They just don't want, but the NFL will figure it out anyway. So I don't know what the.
I was told by Dusty that it was a torn ACL.
I wonder why they wouldn't want that out there.
Guys, we've talked about that before. People navigating how to handle the media is really just not strong.
Yeah.
People just don't like. You cannot, like, don't tell the media. They're going to find out. And the damn sure the NFL and all its investigators are going to find out. I mean, that's bottom. If they don't know the definition and have the records, everything, they're probably not going to draft you because they need to know what that was.
Okay, I want to tell you guys about the people who sponsor our podcast, the Choctaw Casino in Durant. I hate to tell you this, guys, but I'm killing the pick 3. It's just, we're going to go with something new. I kind of talked about this with a few people, but not Josh, so this is news to you. I'm sorry if you love the pick 3. I just thought it was too long, and it wasn't really about OU. Nobody really gives a damn. I mean, Eddie gambles. We all know that.
I'll just tell you guys who I'm betting on anyways.
Yeah. Eddie, it's like Eddie fantasy football. It's like a lot of people don't want to hear other people talk about their fantasy league. Some people do it anyway.
1-0, by the way, in fantasy this week.
Okay, let's be clear. No one wants to hear you talk about your fantasy football
Who was your
team.
starting
Literally
quarterback,
no one.
Eddie?
Aaron Rodgers, actually.
Oh, my God. Well, I had Matt Stafford, so.
Matt
Ooh.
Stafford,
Good on
man.
me.
He just... Does Matt Stafford suck?
He does.
Matt
He's
Stafford
always
just
sucked.
sucks a little bit.
He's a fantasy point sucker.
Good fantasy player.
He throws for
his team
300
sucks.
yards, but then he throws 3 interceptions.
Is he the worst player ever that's probably going to make it to the Hall of Fame?
I don't see how he's going to make it to the Hall of Fame.
You think he's a
I
Hall
think
of Fame guy?
Wait, how?
Guys, when he retires, he's going to throw for 45,000 yards. He'll have some absurd number.
Yeah.
Like, he'll make it.
He's
It's
like
what we
the
just talked about
Landry
with
Jones
Tyler.
of the
He'll make it
NFL.
on
Yeah, he
numbers.
really is. Rest in peace, Landry. His career.
Yeah, I
That's
guess
a
I
really
don't want to
after
rub
fact.
it in, and everybody knows I've never really been a huge Landry Jones fan.
He had a good career. He's made a lot of money.
It bothers me that he's atop the statistical passing yardage list.
And that he's never going to be topped because most quarterbacks won't stay 4 full years if they're a starter as a true freshman.
That's
That
a good point.
usually means they're good enough to go.
Yeah, I mean Landry was good enough to stay around for 4 years.
Put that on a tombstone.
Yeah, good enough to
sometimes-
stay around.
Okay, we know I listen to this in review. Sometimes Tiffany listens with me. I'm guaranteeing you, if she hears this segment, she's going to scream at the radio. She effing hates Landry Jones. Like, I cannot convince her that he had a pulse in football. And I'm like, I'm one of the harshest Landry guys, and she turns me into a defender because her hatred is so strong.
What does she have against Christianity?
That's not it at all. Still, I mean, if I would have known that Landry Jones had as many tattoos as we found out about on Pro Day, it might have changed my mind completely.
And like super white.
Why? Because
trash
he's like a
tattoos.
bad boy?
Well, just like, he had a lot of them. I think he's
Landry's
still
got
getting
like
them.
biker tattoos.
I think he's still getting tattoos.
Oh, yeah.
That sounds like somebody
See
that
that
was
chest
like
one he's got?
appalled
Yeah.
by Kevin Durant's tattoos.
Well, like he tried to hide them forever.
It's so weird.
I feel like somewhere on his body is Chaz Michael Michelson's tattoo with the,
The
bear
wolf.
trying to crawl out of his back.
There's the
I
wolf,
think
isn't
that's
it?
happening.
Yeah. That'd be pretty good. Anyway, I don't know how we got sidetracked like that.
That was a rabbit hole.
Matt Stafford led us to Landry Jones bitching.
Oh, no, you were talking about the pick 3. You
The
killed
pick three, we're killing it. We're gonna
9-11, the pick 3.
What we're gonna do is we're gonna replace it. We're
I know
gonna
you like that, Josh.
we're going to replace it with something else. I think what we're gonna do is pick an underdog every week that is like someone out of the blue that's gonna make an impact. And they'll probably
Like
it's one of those things that will never
player or a team?
Yeah, like a player.
Okay.
Like maybe Drake Stoops has a big week this week or something like that. But I want to tell you guys about the Choctaw Casino. They're the ones that make all this possible. All the podcasts that we do. I went out there, spent a weekend. It's a fantastic place. A lot of great places to eat, like the 1832 Steakhouse. They got the District out there, which is kind of like it's like going to a food court. It's got like Smash Burger and Papa John's and all that. You could just go to all these different places. But they got Gillies. It's really cool. Like, Gillies, like Urban Cowboy. That they have a Gillies. They've got La Cantina is a really cool Mexican place, but the pool is unbelievable. They got craps now. They got roulette, which Josh apparently is a Rain Man playing. So he's going to be out there, you know it. And we might have some interesting stuff. We're maybe working on a Scoop get-together because we have so many people in Dallas and so many people in Oklahoma. That's a perfect meet-up point. Plus, they got the District, which has got a full bowling alley, sports bar, cinema, arcade. It'd just be a really good place for us to get together, hang out. But give them a call. Go online, ChoctawCasinos.com. A lot of great concerts coming up as well. I know Casey Musgraves is coming out there. I think even though Lane Staley, is that his name, Josh? Is that the lead singer for Alice in Chains that's dead now?
Yes.
Yeah, that's him.
Even though he's gone, their new guy is pretty good. And they're coming on October 21st. Casey Musgraves on November 17th. So Choctaw Casino and Resort, thank you for being our title sponsor. And everybody, go hang out. Go check it out. It's a great time. Well, you guys want to talk about the underdogs a little bit? Or possible guys to step up? This is not an underdog, but I talked to a lot of guys yesterday about a guy that we really haven't talked to. And Josh, since you've done the Monday Morning Idiot, you'd probably be somebody good to talk on this. But Neville Gallimore said his name, and I didn't commit it to memory. But
I'll try it.
You want to try it?
Faamatau.
I think that's how he said it.
Faamatau.
But I think it's got to be a Tau at the end.
I think it doesn't have to be like a Tau or Tau, like something.
I think it's Faamatau.
Faamatau.
That's where I would have gone, yeah.
They have, if you go to like the roster, doesn't Toby have a pronunciation
guide? Yeah, I guess I could check that out.
Let's see what it says.
I could play it, actually. But anyway, I mean, Josh, he's a guy that really, to me, the first couple of games has gone underrated and really becoming a big part of what they're doing on the defensive line.
Oh, I agree completely. And I thought what was something I saw that was interesting involving him on one of it was the UCLA play. I'm trying to remember. I think it was their second touchdown drive. And Oklahoma actually went with Gallimore and Faamatau like next to each other. They lined them up. They used them as a personnel group, which I don't think I'd really seen them do before. Kind of down there, like I said, in the goal line close situation. It makes sense, but it was actually Gallimore created some initial pressure. It forced the running back left, and he ran right into Faamatau. So, I mean, it was really it worked for what they tried to do in that situation. Eventually, UCLA had to throw the outside, I think, to score on that drive, if I'm remembering my sequence right. But, yeah, so I think he's been really good. To me, we talked about it last week when Riley and, Mike Stoops had kind of made the comments that Oklahoma's interior defensive line didn't play as well as they needed it to against Florida Atlantic. I thought Gallimore was outstanding against UCLA. And Faamatau, they don't need him to be a superstar, but when he's giving Neville a rest, they just need him to be steady and solid. And I think through 2 games, he's absolutely been that.
I think we have a Tyrod Taylor situation going here because they have a pronunciation guide.
Yeah, it's definitely weird how it's...
They have it, if I'm reading this correctly, it's Faamatau or O. Faamatau.
I think that's easier to say. I'm kind of for that.
Faamatau.
Just say Dillon.
Dillon F is, I think, what Mike Stoops calls him.
And he has to play a much bigger role with Q Overton out at least 2-3 more weeks.
Yeah, we didn't even really talk about that as much. Did we talk about that? I guess we talked about that a little bit on the post-game podcast.
Yeah, a little bit.
It's kind of a weird situation, though, just as far as having to have, what is it? Appendicitis. Like 1 a.m. the night. Appendectomy. That's the word I was looking for. Sounds awful.
I think Bob's familiar with that, isn't he? Or is that...
Pancreatitis.
Oh, pancreatitis.
That's different.
That's one you really die from, isn't it?
Yes. Actually, yes.
So, yeah, I mean, but one of the things I thought was interesting that I talked to Curtis Bolton about yesterday is him talking about when they face teams this year, the defensive line is getting a 2 and 3 yard push up the field, which in turn makes it harder on the running backs because when they weren't doing that, the running backs could kind of see the holes develop a little bit better. It gave them more time to make decisions in the backfield. And he said now what's happening is they're getting 2 to 3 yards push on the defensive line, and it's allowing the defense to get to running backs faster. Curtis Lofton is so good, Curtis Bolton is so good to talk to because he doesn't care. He'll just explain stuff the way that no one ever wants to really tell you. He's
the best. He's one of the best interviews, not just on the team, but since I've been doing this, he's probably one of the most fun guys we've ever talked to.
Leader in the clubhouse, J.D. Runnels Media Award, no doubt about it.
Yeah, who was that? Eddie, did you tweet that out yesterday?
Yeah, he's really good. The defensive guys are really good. Just as a whole, it seems like I don't know if it has anything to do with them playing better, but just talking to those guys, it's like maybe this is why they're a little bit better. It's like they can communicate better. Maybe they're a little. I don't know about smarter is the right way to put it, but just it kind of all makes sense.
I'll give you a little bit of Curtis Bolton from yesterday. Here you go.
Got it.
Is this a defense that is almost motivated by the success that you've had so far? You want to go out and do even better. You want to go out and get even more.
Yeah, I think a lot of people feel like that. I think we got a lot of young guys. We got a lot of guys that want to get after it, and a lot of you guys are starting to see it. I know every year we say we're going to be this type of defense. We're going to be this type of defense, but we want to show it this year. We're tired of talking about it, and I think we're seeing it I think we're seeing it game in the first 2 games. I think it's been pretty obvious that we're a different team this year, and that we got guys that are putting in the work in the off season that are busting their ass. To these results didn't come overnight. They're not. It's not just a change of mentality. It's a change of it's the hard work. It's the dedication. It's all starting to come to the light, and it's what we've been doing since January. I think everybody's pretty locked in.
He's also not afraid to drop a hell, a damn, an ass.
I think that's why I like him so much. He just kind of keeps it real.
Says balls to the wall the other day.
Yeah, he did after the game. I bet Curtis Bolton's pretty woke.
You think he believes in alien life?
No, I bet he doesn't believe in any of that shit.
That's being woke in your world.
I bet he thinks that NASA's a green screen in Hollywood. Start asking about this kind of stuff.
Yeah. I'm sure he's going to get sick of answering all these questions about the defense. Look, if they go out and play well against Iowa State, Iowa, they're no juggernaut, but they played well. Their defensive line is their defensive line is good. It's always been good.
How many games, though, you have to go through before you can say, okay, this defense is pretty good? Because I think the first two weeks, and even Mike Stoops said it on Tuesday when we talked to him, was the fact that they've played 2 teams that had quarterbacks that both were making their first road starts. The other one was both were making their first career starts.
But then Chris Robinson goes and becomes a Conference USA Player of the Week.
Yeah, he did it against a bunch of pilots, though. They were playing Air Force.
Not all of them are pilots.
Most of them.
Not everyone in the Air Force is a pilot.
They'll have interest in flying.
It's a branch of military. They have all kinds of jobs that you can hold in the Air Force. They even have aircraft carriers.
I know. My cousin went to Air Force. That's why we're a Navy family. Right, Josh?
Oh, I drive around with a Navy hat in my truck. So those of you Houston people that see a giant, as Carey would call it, F-950 with a Navy hat, that might be me.
Did you notice somebody got mad on Twitter?
Yeah, he wanted proof that I actually drove a 950. I don't even know if that exists.
It doesn't.
I've seen a
450 is the highest it goes. Is there a 450?
Yeah, there's some monsters, but that's industrial grade, it's huge. But it's a 250. People, it's jacked up a little bit and it's got big bumpers and all this stuff. So it's pretty. I kind of love my truck.
I need a ladder to get out of that thing. It's it literally scares me. I feel like I'm standing on the ledge of a 6th floor and I have to decide whether I want to kill myself or not.
The only parking garage it's ever fit in was at a high school, and that's at Episcopal High School. That still amazes me to this day. because it fits nowhere like that, but it fit into there just fine.
I was there for that.
Yes, you were. Yes, you were.
So we talked to Curtis Bolton a lot yesterday. We talked to Mike Stoops. Mike was, I think it's interesting talking to Mike because, he just kind of wants to be the same guy he's always been. He's not going to get into, declaring victory or anything like that yet. So he just kind of says the same stuff he always says. It's almost like he's in a terrible position.
We can't say that they're better because then everybody they did this kind of song and dance last season. I mean, I think there was a lot of people that thought they had turned a corner against Ohio State, weren't there?
Yeah, but at some point,
it all went to shit.
At some point, I just want to see him like go all in, and like.
But then he'd have to admit
say,
fault.
Coach, people know what I'm doing.
He'd have to admit fault for not winning against Georgia or not having a better defense last year.
He doesn't have to do shit, really. Do whatever he wants. I don't think he will, though. I think if this defense, even if they finish as the top 10 defense, I think he'll just kind of be like, defense is hard. We had a good year.
Top 10 of what?
Then Bob Diaco will come in and just give the double barrels to everybody.
Top 10 in the country?
I just threw it out there. I'm not saying they're going to finish top 10 in the country.
I think if they finish top 30, it's a successful year.
I'd agree.
Top 30, they can go to the playoffs and play with anybody.
Although this week's going to tell us a lot about how good the offenses really are in this conference.
Oh, just as far as like other teams?
Everybody, yeah.
Yeah. It's too
Except
bad
for West Virginia because they're not playing.
Yeah. I thought you meant it.
I mean, West Virginia's good on offense. They are a Big
really
12
good.
offense.
Yeah,
I don't
for
need
sure.
them to play NC State to convince me that they're good.
For sure. TCU and
Oklahoma State.
and
We're going to find out a lot about Oklahoma State this weekend.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm very in between on that game. I don't know what the hell's going to happen.
I don't think their offensive line's any good.
I don't either. They're 99th right now in sacks allowed.
And they can't run the ball.
They've played South Alabama and Missouri State.
I know.
It's not good.
And they're playing Boise.
You know what, though? I will say, I think Josh Henson's a really good coach, but at the same time, and Josh and Bob, you guys could correct me, but some of the guys that they've outside of Bryce Bray, who have they really signed from Oklahoma that were going to be difference makers?
I think Oklahoma State has frankly done a horseshit job of recruiting Oklahoma for a long time.
Yep.
I don't know why. I don't know why they don't put a big. I mean, Demarion Houston. There's no way that guy should get out of state. No way in hell.
I think a lot of people kind of felt like that after he committed to Texas.
Like they should have locked up Trace Ford a long time ago.
Colin Clay.
Yes, Colin Clay's a huge. It's a gift from Oklahoma that they're not recruiting Colin Clay, and you can't reel him in when he's there to be had. And you've lost to an out-of-state program that has a new coaching staff, has no track record, and frankly doesn't have anywhere near your success over the last decade. Like, that doesn't make any sense at all.
And by the way, just got beat by Colorado State over the weekend.
Yeah.
I think Mike Gundy's kind of had a little bit of arrogance that's hurt him in recruiting.
Yeah, I guess that kind of goes back to what Boone said.
He's kind of a football guy. He doesn't want to give in to all these youngsters and their tweeting and their, social media and.
Which is weird because for a guy that seemingly enjoys the media, I mean, look what he did after the game on Saturday, talking about with the smoothie or taking his shirt off.
That
with the
hasn't
stripes.
come easily for him, though.
He's very comfortable though doing it. It seems like.
Bob got more comfortable with the media, though, and he was never new age.
But you would have never seen Bob take his shirt off and reveal like a referee striped jersey underneath.
He might be doing that on the weekends behind the bar. We don't know.
Yeah.
Or be in a singlet for one of their, Bob didn't do stunts.
You would think that Mike Gundy would embrace the social media side of it more, but maybe that's just the country, for a lack of better terms, bumpkin in him.
That it's complicated with the Gundys. I mean,
it is.
It's a complicated
complicated.
family. It's been talked about a lot, kind of behind the scenes, just about kind of the chip on the shoulder that the Gundy family has always had toward the media. Kind of starting with the dad, Ray, I would say that maybe Mike is figuring it out a little bit, but like Cale's never been particularly friendly to the media. In fact, I would say that Cale's been antisocial more than he's been media friendly, and that's not just because he's blocked me on Twitter.
We took a picture together when I was 5. So we've
I
always been
saw
pretty,
that.
Go way back.
We've always
When
been
he was
pretty
actually the that's so sad, is to think that when I was in college, you were 5.
cool. Yeah, that's a fact.
You were just a little kid. It's a good thing you didn't come up to me and say, "One day I'm going to work for you." I would have been, what a creepy little kid. I'm never hiring that kid.
Sure.
But we're going to find out. Like I said, I don't know that we're going to find out anything about TCU other than they're not as good as Ohio State.
Yeah, Sean Robinson's going to have to make a lot of plays with his arm, and after watching him last week, I don't know if that time has come yet in his 3rd career start, but
I
would cheer for TCU.
I think we're going to find out a lot about
I'll be
OU
pulling
this
for 'em.
weekend because, guys, I think OU, based on what we've seen the first 2 weeks, based on the fact that Iowa State no longer has Alan Lazard, they no longer remember Joe Lanning. He ran 9 offensive plays last year for them in that game.
They all seem to be big plays, too. Weren't
Well,
they,
yeah,
like,
they
on
brought him in
third downs?
on short yardage,
Yeah.
and he picked up some huge plays for them. And I love David Montgomery as a running back, but Iowa, collared him.
He had like 30 yards, didn't he?
Yeah.
Last week.
So, to me,
You're
OU should be able to go in and dominate this game from the defensive side
talking
of the
like
ball.
a 3-touchdown performance. It's encouraging if they go up there and take care of business. Would be a 2 or 3 touchdown
victory. Yeah.
Don't slug through it because I don't think Iowa State's very good.
That's
to be
what I'm
honest.
saying.
Yeah, okay, I got what you're saying.
I think OU, if they are really good, they should be able to go up there and impose their will on Iowa State.
Do what they've
On
done in
both sides
Manhattan
of the
a
ball.
couple times. Just go up and kick the shit out of somebody.
Yeah.
Cyclones only get 3 points against Iowa. If they score anywhere in like around 20 points, be a lot of questions.
And as we talked about with Mike Stoops yesterday, nobody really knows what's happened with their quarterback situation either.
Well, I mean, they may not have Kemp, but, I mean, Nolan's got a lot of tape, too. Does that kind of help you out a little bit, just that you've seen both these guys a lot?
Well, he's, again, he wouldn't be they thought he was going to play a year ago when Kemp went in. They thought, we all thought he was the backup, and then Kemp came in and did a great job, never relinquished really his job. And so obviously the kid's very capable. He played against Baylor a year ago. So, there's tape, but, yeah, he throws the ball well, and, he's well prepared. He's been in their system. I don't know, I guess it's his 3rd year. So, again, we expect our backup quarterback to go in and play and be able to execute just like they do.
And again, this is, regardless of Kemp or Nolan is the guy, they don't have a receiver like they had last year to throw to. They don't have anybody to bail them out. Because, they could use...
They may never have another receiver like that.
They could use Lazard on big 3rd downs, 3rd and longs, and then they could use Lanning on 3rd and shorts, and they could kind of piece together drives.
And you're hoping OU doesn't have anyone like Jordan Thomas this year.
Yeah, bad game. I looked this up. They had 13 missed tackles in that game last year. OU did.
It's a lot. And you talked to Bolton about tackling. I thought that shit was pretty good about how they're not taking it light during practice. Or was that Kenneth Murray that was talking about that?
No, it was Bolton.
It's Bolton.
He was
The whole
talking about-
entire... I'll have the Bolton stuff up on the board later this afternoon. My apologies for not getting that up.
He's good to listen to.
It's really good.
He just talks.
He keeps it real.
Gives longer answers than Riley. Which is saying something.
It's almost like, okay, stop now. Like, we got to transcribe this stuff and write stories. It's like, you're giving me a novel here.
Yeah.
It's like, it's all good, but it's a lot. Eddie, you need to, next time he gives a real long answer, you just at the end, you should just go, nobody wants to read that shit.
To who?
To Curtis Bolton, see what happens.
I would never say that to Curtis. I have a man crush on him. I want more. I
Or
want
not
to hear
that
him
shit,
all the
but
time.
maybe nobody wants to read that much shit.
Okay, I might. Maybe if they play well this weekend.
You are developing a little man crush on.
I like Curtis Bolton. I think he's a really good football player. The stuff that he said about special teams, I tweeted it this morning. That was erotic. That was amazing. Just talking about how they have plenty of guys that want to, I don't know. I feel like this happens every year, Josh, but I'm starting to buy in that maybe this team's a little bit different than others in years past. But it happens every year. This little thing that we go through as far as, maybe these guys are bought in. Maybe this defense is better. I feel like I'm in this position every season, but it is interesting that there is a different level of energy. Would that be the best way to say it, guys? As far as the young crowd, when you talk to Justin Broyles, we haven't talked to Buki, but obviously we know the impact that he's had. When you see Kenneth Murray flying around like he did against UCLA, when you see the defensive line playing at the level that they've played, it looks different. I mean, am I buying in too much?
First off, I've got your
staff on.
your stuff from Curtis Bolton, your eroticism about special teams. I'll play for you.
The coaching staff, a lot of people don't take special teams serious, and I don't understand. You see it every game. There's a player, 2 or even 3, especially in tight games, and say it's a tight game, offense isn't getting started, and you have a punt return. Punt return for a touchdown. It's rare that team loses. Or same thing with if you block a punt. I couldn't tell you the last time I seen a team block a punt and lose. So it's just the fact that our coaching staff has made it is very adamant about that. They're letting us know that this is important. And if you want to play on this team, you're going to bust your ass on special teams. And if you're a guy, that's something that you should pride yourself on. It's not just playing on offense and defense. If you're a guy, if you're that much of a competitor and it's real. You want to dominate on wherever you're at, whenever you're on the field, and that includes special teams. So, I think it was just our coaching staff making more of an important showing plays at games where special teams screwed us. It got us the block field goal got us last year in the Rose Bowl. It's just that things like that are such a main point, and it's so important for everybody else to buy in on it.
I'm a little concerned. I'm gonna have to start checking to make sure you don't have a boner.
I'm going to start taking Viagra on Tuesday nights before defensive interviews.
Please don't do that. If you are traveling to Ames and you're thinking, oh, we're going to go up there and kind of like I did in college, like life is so different. I remember driving all night to go to Manhattan, Kansas with my best friend. We were in college. No tickets. We just wanted to go watch shitty OU play K-State. I want to say, I don't even know who their quarterback was that day. But no tickets in hand. We just thought, okay, well, we'll go and see what we can do in the morning, see what we can get our tickets for. And that was fine. But now, there's no way you have to do that. Because you got stuff like SeatGeek. Like, I went and downloaded their app the other day, and it's really cool. It asks you to sync up with your Spotify account and your Facebook account because it will find out what artist you like. So it will show you what concerts are coming to your area that you might be interested in. And it also finds out, the first thing it showed was Oklahoma Sooners versus Army. That was, I didn't have to do anything. I didn't have to look anything up. It was very intuitive. But we want you guys to know that football, SeatGeek knows that football's back. And they are the smartest, easiest way to get tickets to every game all season long. So whether you're driving this weekend to Ames and looking for a last-minute deal, whether you're planning a night out at a concert, or you're looking for a perfect gift, SeatGeek wants to help you find the best seats at the best prices. They're fully guaranteed. I've had a lot of people ask me this too, can I use it on my phone to get into the games? Yes, absolutely. They have e-ticketing. That's probably their preferred method of doing this. So for OU games, there is e-ticketing. You just go on the app, buy your tickets, and the e-ticket will come to you. And if you are a listener to the Sooner Scoop podcast and you go and download the app and enter promo code SCOOP, you get $20 off your first SeatGeek purchase. So go check it out. Great sponsor of the program. Love for you guys to support SeatGeek for them supporting our podcast. So go download SeatGeek app on the App Store, the Google Play Store. Put it on your phone. Check it out. Let it do its thing. And then when you're ready to buy your tickets, whether it's concerts, whether it's OU Army coming up, whether it's if you want to go up to Stillwater and watch Boise and Oklahoma State this weekend, probably going to be some empty seats there. Just go on the SeatGeek app, type in SCOOP for the promo code, and get $20 off. All right, we heard from Curtis Bolton talking about special teams and a lot of other things that he talked about. But let's move back to the offense a little bit because we were talking about this earlier. Kyler Murray, he can play better than what he played on Saturday, and he was still Big 12 Player of the Week.
Sure.
But this is his first true road game as a starter. Like when he was at A&M, I don't think that South Carolina game was on the road.
It was.
Or it was
in Columbia.
Okay. So, I mean, I don't know. I remember Sam Bradford's first game in Ames. It was terrible.
Yeah, they almost got beat.
Wind was blowing really bad. He just had probably one of the worst days that he had at OU.
We'll say the weather is supposed to be nice on Saturday, so I don't know. I don't think you're gonna have to worry about weather, but
as long as we get there,
we're getting there.
Well,
Freaking
you
me
may
out
not
now.
get there.
You're freaking me out now. That
Bob and I will have a good chance of getting there. You, I'm not so sure.
that'd be messed up if they were like, "No, sir, we heard you on the podcast. You're a TSA threat."
A flight risk. Take them away.
Now you're worried. I can tell.
Shall I wear sheets to the
Okay.
airport?
I'm trying too hard now.
No, but I mean, when you have a offensive line like Oklahoma has, I think that it makes everything a little bit
They've
easier.
got to carry you.
With that said, they didn't play very well on Saturday. Josh?
They didn't run very well as Josh tries to unmute himself. I'll say that. Their run blocking wasn't good. Josh is still not there. He must have had
We ran him off.
an emergency.
Hello. Hello.
It's almost like the whole offense took a while to get back on track after Rodney went down.
Yeah.
I mean, they didn't score for a quarter and a half, almost 4 straight possessions, and then they found their groove again. So maybe that little hiccup will help
It was
them.
almost like they were waiting for Rodney to kind of get them on track. And then when they lost him, it was like, oh, we've never done this with Trey Sermon before. Like, how do we get a running game going now?
'Cause if you look, I mean, Sermon isn't even one of the top 4 rushers. He just seemed like he couldn't find that gear that he usually finds against other teams, especially in the second half. So they went more with Sutton. They went more with Pleasure, and it worked out fine.
I was trying to just come up with a... Here's Trey Sermon talking a little bit about the Iowa State game.
He just told us I mean, of course, we would love to have him, but we always have to be ready. It's just the next man up. Everybody has to be ready to go in and play at a high level.
I was talking to Marcellus, and he was saying that when he comes into the game after you've been in for a while, he notices people are kind of a little bit more hesitant, maybe, because you're causing a little havoc in there. How much of that do you look as your job now? I mean, if you're the number one guy to have a change-up that can come in there and you guys really form kind of a dynamic together.
I think it's very important. Each one of us is different, so, I mean, when we're going in there playing, I guess it would be kind of difficult for teams to adjust to each running back. So, I mean, I think that's one of the best qualities that we have, that each one of us is unique and we play a little bit different. But, I mean, our goal is to just play at a high level.
Coach Riley probably told you when you were being recruited that he was going to get 3-4 running backs to play. Were there some schools that recruited you said you could be the featured back? And do you like this system compared to that?
I definitely love the two-back system because, I mean, it's kind of what I was used to in high school. I played with another running back, and that's just kind of the 20 personnel. That was mainly our offense.
All right, so there's a little bit of Trey Sermon, and I'll say this, guys. I don't think you're going to go with TJ Pledger as your number 2 guy, being that it's a road game. I think you want a guy in there like Marcellus Sutton who's had some experience.
I think it would take Sutton putting the ball on the ground for him to not be benched.
I don't know what his most carries in a game would be. I don't know that he's even in double digits. Ever.
I would be surprised.
I can't think of any game where he would have been that close.
It's really like his usage almost trailed off completely by the end of last season.
Oh, it wasn't even there the second half of the year.
But I mean, look, he looks like a different runner to me this year. I'm curious to see. I think I can hear Josh in the background.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we have you back.
What the hell was that? That was the weirdest deal. Like, literally, I've been listening the whole time. Nothing changed for me. All of a sudden, I was just talking, and you guys couldn't hear me. So I don't know what the hell happened.
Most carries in a game from Marcellus Sutton is 9. Actually, in the opener of the 2017 season, he had 9 for 52.
Against UTEP?
Yep.
I'm going to bet he doesn't top that this year.
9?
Yep.
What?
I'm telling you.
Are you drunk?
Nope.
I'm more in line with that. I mean, he's going to get more than like the 4 or 5.
I bet he has more
He's
than 9 on
backup
Saturday.
Running back now.
I bet he has more than 9 on Saturday.
All right. We'll see.
So you're saying that TJ Pledger's going to
somebody give me some action.
Go that quickly?
I think
to overtake him, Josh?
I think they know. Like, the situation made sense with Sutton is 3, Pledger is 4. He was probably going to play at his 4 games and probably redshirt. But as it is, now they know they've got to play him, and he's a better, more talented back. I don't know that he'll be the number 2 option this weekend or anything like that, but I think Sermon will get the boatload of the carries, and Sutton will get I think Sutton will be a part of every game going forward. But has Sutton shown me anything that he needs 10 carries a game? Hell no.
I think Kyler's going to be used a lot too.
I think that's. I think it really went overlooked. I don't know how much you guys talked about it, but I think it went overlooked. I mean, he led them in rushing.
I think you guys are all wrong.
69 yards. I do too. I agree with you, Carey.
Because here's my stance on the thing. Bill Bedenbaugh does Bill Bedenbaugh, which is he has an offensive line that goes out there and road grates, and he has running backs that they put behind him, and they're just going to keep putting running backs back there. I don't see them changing their plan to give Kyler Murray more carries. Kyler Murray is going to continue. If he's the leading rusher, it's because they're not running the ball very well.
Right.
Like, Lincoln Riley is not going to come up with some new game plan. He wants him back there as a quarterback.
Your backup quarterback last week was a true freshman in Tanner Mordecai.
Yeah.
If Kyler Murray, if they start running him more in Ames and he gets hurt all of a sudden, I think Austin Kendall is going to be available this weekend. But at the same time, I mean, why do you even put yourself in that situation?
Yeah, I think Lincoln Riley and Bill Bedenbaugh have the attitude of, we're going to run the ball behind a really talented offensive line. If we can't do that, then we have real problems as an offense because that's what we do.
2 things worth noting in that conversation. Sutton had 5 carries on Saturday. So Rodney Anderson didn't take that many away from him. I mean, he was the number 2 back for 75% of that game.
I think Sutton's last carry, though, was in the 3rd quarter.
Right. That's the thing. It's hard to judge any of these guys because they haven't played a full game. They haven't been needed in the 4th quarter against a first-string defense yet.
Also, Pledger had 7 carries and averaged 6.4 per.
Against second-string people.
No, I'm not. But he's also running behind the second-string offensive line.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, there's a give and take to all that.
I can feel the tension.
No, but we're agreeing because I don't think Sutton's getting more than 10 carries in a game.
Don't get me wrong, like,
let him go in their narrative will get screwed.
11 with Sutton, I'd feel better about it. 9's close, but if he had a game where he had 15 carries, I'll be shocked.
I think somewhere in between 10 and 15 would probably be But I don't think anybody outside of Rodney Anderson on this team would be getting more than 15, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
At this point, I agree. Yeah.
I mean, look at like Justice Hill. Like he
had 9 for
by
what,
far
32 against.
It wasn't good. Like I said, their offense.
They can't.
But
run
I mean,
the ball,
I'm
though.
just saying. Look at Justice Hill last year. I mean, he'd get between 15 and 20 carries most games, and he was their best back. I mean, running backs this day and age, they get between 15 and the very best get between 15 to 25 carries a game.
How many times is Jonathan Taylor getting the ball a game? Just a guesstimate. Do you have any idea off the top of your head? Yeah.
I don't. I haven't even paid attention to their. I haven't looked at a single one of their box scores this year.
I would think that he would be a guy that gets the ball the most out of anybody in the country.
Or Bryce Love.
Stanford is pretty good at feeding one
Bryce
guy.
Love.
Yeah.
See his
But he can't
bullshit
stay
this
healthy.
weekend. Oh, poor guy is on the DL again. He's the softest player in the country.
Is it because he didn't go to Pac-12 media days?
No, it's because he's the
He hurt his
softest player in the
ankle again.
country.
Yeah. Now, he's tiny though.
I think he's just not built to play the way Stanford plays.
Okay, that's fair.
I mean, they want to run between the tackles. They want him to go north-south. He needs to get outside.
He's not a feature back.
Most carries Jonathan Taylor had last year was 30. He had 30 against Purdue for 219, 29 a couple times, 25 a couple times. Workhorse.
How do you guys think OU views Jonathan Taylor? Clearly a guy they could have had if they wanted. And now he's a Heisman contender.
Would he be a Heisman contender with the OU offense, though?
It's a good question. I mean, if there's any offensive line that Oklahoma probably has to bow down to, it's Wisconsin. I mean, they're incredible up front this year. But it's interesting that a guy in their own backyard.
Does he catch the football?
What's that?
Does Jonathan Taylor catch the football?
It's a good question. I don't know that I've seen. I mean,
much.
It's one of those things. It's kind of like Rodney Anderson at Katy. Like, I don't know that he can't do it. That he hasn't really been asked to do it.
And that's what I'm alluding to more than the offensive line. Just I don't know if he gets the number of carries at OU, and I don't know if he would be exactly what the Sooners would want.
Jonathan Taylor had 8 receptions last year.
Yeah, he doesn't. That's awful. He would never make it at OU's offense.
Well, again, though, I mean, you're talking about an offense that's not really what it's built on. So it doesn't mean he can't do it so much as they just don't.
Yeah.
Like I said, I don't want to introduce it like I think it's some indictment of Oklahoma. I'm just interested to see, like, do they go back and think, yeah, we missed something there, or I just wonder because, like I said, as a DFW guy, that's an area that they've got to lock down all the guys that are capable of helping them.
Get to the fridge. Grab yourself a Native Amber, an F5 IPA, or any of the great Coop Ale Works beers, because it's time to make a toast to this week's player to watch.
All right, it's the Coop Ale Works player to watch. This is where we go around the room, and we all give what player we think could be the breakout star of this week's game. Of course, Kyler Murray, Big 12 Offensive Player of the Week a week ago. But obviously, running backs are going to be way up there in interest level because Rodney Anderson is gone. Let's start with Mr. Josh McQuistion. Josh, who is your Coop Ale Works player to watch this week?
I don't have one that jumps out at me because Iowa State, I feel like we don't know a ton about them. But if I'm going to pick a guy, I feel like maybe this could be I guess I'll just stick with the conversation we were on. I feel like we're going to watch Trey Sermon have a really good game because the offensive line's kind of gotten beat up this week. And somewhat fairly. They didn't have a great week last week. I think they're going to come out, especially when you consider what Iowa State did last year. I think there's going to be a statement to be made. Obviously, we've talked about Sermon's bad moment against Iowa State. I feel like you're going to see a motivated guy. I don't know that it's going to be 27 carries, kind of like we just talked about. I think it's going to be modest. But if you told me he went for 19 for 130, I could totally buy that.
Bob, who are you going with for your Coop Ale Works player to watch?
I'll go in the secondary, Parnell Motley. I think Tre Brown is really nipping at the heels of Norwood and Motley. And Parnell has been looked to be the guy, like the leader of the secondary. And I'm not sure that's really shown up a lot through the first couple of games. So maybe with the way that Tre Brown is playing, it feels that fire just a little bit more. And you get the first interception for OU's starting secondary. Robert Barnes has the only turnover of the season. Parnell Motley either forces a fumble or gets a pick.
Eddie, where are you going?
It's a tough one. I was going to say, I was on my way in, I was kind of thinking about taking Kyler Murray to make the argument that he could play much better. But I'm going to go with, I think I'm going to go with the secondary as well. I'm going to go Buki, first career interception.
Oh, you stole mine.
First career interception.
You stole my prediction,
He's going to step in front of one.
It's such a good pick. Because
and I could see him taking one back to the house.
If OU shuts down
or
the
as
run.
Darnell Mayberry said, the heezy.
That wasn't Darnell Mayberry. That
was
was
it not?
Brandon Chapman.
Brandon Chapman.
I just saw Brandon Chapman
God
at the
damn
liquor
it.
store the other day where I go and get
Really?
my Coop Ale Works. Yeah.
Damn it.
He lives a mile away from here.
Let's go TP his house.
And see, I thought it was that's a brilliant pick. We're on the same wavelength today. I don't know what's
Feeling
going
good.
on.
Feeling good. Let's play footsie.
Because I think OU will really make it difficult for Iowa State to run the ball, and because of that, they're going to have to throw some passes that maybe they don't want to throw.
Yeah.
So I think it could be a big day for the OU secondary.
He's been all over the field. I mean, I feel like it's close. It's really close. Last week he had the batted down pass on the. Was he blitzing on that play or did he just read it? I couldn't tell. But Buki's due for a big game.
Okay, well, I'm going to go in a different direction then. It's someone that's been mentioned. I'm going to say first career kickoff return for a touchdown for one Tre Brown.
You got close
this
to us
weekend.
last week. Got really close.
Who was the guy that chased him down?
He was obviously one of the gunners, I think. I mean,
And he
it looked
definitely
like a
had
fast
the
guy.
angle. He definitely had the
Yeah.
angle.
Yeah.
But even with that, I was surprised.
At first, I thought it was the kicker, but he shook the kicker at about the 45.
Oh, yeah. He's going to be good at that. I mean, like, that's the first time I've seen someone since Alex Ross and been like, oh, he's built for this.
There were. I mean, maybe it was because he took the first one back, but every time that he was back there to return a kick, it was like
it was close.
He could break.
He was picking the right creases.
Yeah, he was one move away from breaking it open.
Yeah, he had 2 returns, 86-35. I mean, it's you have a good idea that he knows exactly what he needs to do once he gets back there.
Master.
I just pulled it up. It was the Metters kid who caught him. That's really good
yeah.
for UCLA. He's a nice player.
Special
He had a
teams made
terrible
great
game,
again.
though. He had, if you go and look, we haven't talked about this. We've got a partnership now with Pro Football Focus, and we're going to start having a lot more. I've kind of been spending this whole week trying to figure out things to do and come up with some things to feature, and it's really cool because like it allows us to look at every defender, who he defended, how he did against those defenders. And then you can look at a defender and it'll show you how that person did against every receiver on the other team. And Metters was like, he got abused. I think 4 of CeeDee Lamb's catches were against Metters in that game. And pretty much everybody else that got targeted that he was responsible for caught passes too. He just had a really rough day. But he's still fast. By the way, something changed my life yesterday. I went to, I kind of go to different liquor stores around just to kind of see what the Coop Ale Works selection looks like. The Spirit Shop in Norman has 12 packs of F5 IPAs.
Oh, wow.
And Horny Toad Blondes.
Moving on up.
12 packs.
You can
Do you think they moved to that because of this pod?
I believe so.
No,
yeah.
I think they had
that's
it
probably how
out.
that happened.
I think they had it out before they were sponsoring the pod. But yeah, Coop
The
Ale
unofficial
Works.
40 effect. We make changes happen at the press conference. We're making changes
You know
happen
what?
in the liquor stores.
If enough people continue to support Coop Ale Works.
Name
and
your
tweet
kid
about
after
them.
us.
Maybe we can get an unofficial 40,
Beer.
beer.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Oh, that'd be outstanding.
A little cigarette holder on the can. That'd be sweet.
Maybe we could make it look a little. Maybe we could call it something after Patty.
Oh man, that'd be awesome.
Have our
I bet
own
Patty would
Patty
love
beer.
that.
No more natties for Patty. Coop Ale Works could get all the. I should be a marketing director.
Yeah.
Make it a seasonal. Come out during softball season.
That'd be sweet. Have like a softball on it.
Well, now that, if Oklahoma's going to start selling alcohol, I mean, that can be the official beer of the softball program.
But I want to remind you guys.
Good thinking, Josh.
Look, Coop Ale Works. They've been around for the last 9 years. They're an Oklahoma City brewery. They got 7 year-round beers, 4 seasonals. Oktoberfest is out now. It's one of my favorites. So make sure to stock up your tailgate with some of their F5 IPA, which is Eddie's favorite, Horny Toad Blonde, which is mine. I also like the Native Amber. The Spare Rib, I think, is going to be a little hard to find until October when some of the grocery stores are done with, or the liquor stores are done with their cold stuff. But I know, the Saturday Siren is out there in stores right now. That's their Pilsner. Which you like the old style beer. That's a pretty cool beer too. So thanks to Coop Ale Works for being a great sponsor of the show. Anything, Bob or Josh, you want to touch on the recruiting front? I know coming up next week, Eskridge Lexus is going to be sending us up to Wichita, Kansas.
I'll let Josh do football, and then I'll do basketball.
Oh, yeah, we have some basketball stuff to get to.
And I'll hit on women's soccer after you guys get done.
Then I've got softball.
With football, again, a very light weekend as far as uncommitted guys, as far as guys with offers. It was just more of, like you had the 4 official visitors, all were committed. Stacey Wilkins, Corey Roberson, I'm going to blank, Jonathan Perkins, and who's the 4th one I'm forgetting, Bob?
Hicks?
Yes, Marcus Hicks, of course, the guy that you're going to see in a week. Yeah, so awesome segue for me. But no, all were there. I've talked a little bit, kind of briefly with each. They all loved it. I mean, Corey Roberson, I was talking to him, and he sounded like a kid that had never been there before. Like, oh, it was incredible. I, never seen anything like it. And I'm like, you've literally been there. So it was just kind of fun to hear that take from them.
It was obvious his mother loved the visit.
Yeah. She's a gung ho kind of lady, but anyway, that all went well.
Gung ho kind of lady.
Yeah, like she's just excitable. Like she seems every time like she's never one that's like like Corey had a nice game or that like OU visit went good. Like everything's like to the extreme. So I guess maybe that's where Corey gets that from. That he was that excited about the official that he'd already basically been there 3 times now. So anyway, but I guess one of the rumors that's kind of gone around, I guess we should probably address it because I know there's a lot of people listening to the pod that aren't members of the site, haven't seen me shoot some of this stuff down. I really hate to start it like that because it sounds really positive and everybody's going to be very excited now. Chris Steele and Dax Hill, there's been a lot of talk that OU has kind of opened things back up with them. I think there is something to be said for Chris Steele in Oklahoma, maybe rekindling things a little bit. I don't know how far I'm willing to go as far as its meaningfulness, but Dax Hill in Oklahoma, OU fans, let that go. It's gone. Like it's just, there's been reports out that he's spoken to, OU and Lincoln Riley. I have nothing that confirms that. That sounds, the people I've talked to make it sound like that has been washed away a long time ago. In fact, one person I was talking to, I kind of mentioned, I keep hearing it's Michigan or Alabama. And the conversation was, well, Oklahoma wouldn't know. And so, that just kind of, they've washed their hands. They're looking at Peyton Powell, Jordan Battle. I've even heard, a few other guys kind of being mentioned, committed elsewhere as well. So we'll see what happens. But, I mean, I think Oklahoma, it's been quiet for a little while. I think you're starting to seeing some momentum building. I'm expecting some new 2020 offers to go out here over the next week or so. So they'll start to be more and more to talk about in recruiting.
How hard is it going to be to get Chris Steele back on campus since he already used that official visit for the spring game?
we talked about it back in the spring. That was the risk you ran because you needed to close him or more or less close him then because the odds you were going to get another shot were small. Now, I know there has been a little conversation about maybe that could happen. And, you know, he took an unofficial to Florida. I mean, so it's not like he just can't do it. But, I mean, there's going to have to be real motivation. I guess if he shows up in Norman, you know this is real. Like, you know this is not just a token visit. It's not just BS. If he's going to do this, then, you know, there is some reason to think that maybe Oklahoma could flip him away from SC.
My God, does this mean that OU fans have to root for Texas to beat USC now?
That was the discussion on the board the last couple days.
I don't think they. Yeah. I don't think they have to root for anything. I mean, I think that's. Just
both teams are just going to suck.
I think that's. No, I think Texas is going to kick the shit out of USC.
Honestly, the way it's gone, OU's had more battles with SC over the last 2 or 3 years than they have Texas, weirdly enough. Because just the way they've hit California and Arizona and some of those places, it hasn't been the same thing. But, you know, Texas, obviously, the more they grow, the tougher they are to recruit against. And right now they're kind of down. So I guess you root for SC just to keep Texas where they are, because I don't think SC is going to go to the stratosphere anytime soon. They're pretty shaky.
I saw Bryce Young had some ridiculous stats in like a national game or something the other day.
It's one of those things. You play at Boston. I mean, I know the Ukulele kid had like 6 touchdowns in the first quarter or something the other night. Like, no, it was like 5. He had 5 touchdowns in the first. I mean, Bosco and Mater Dei are just so ridiculous. I mean, each of those rosters probably have got 25 guys that will eventually sign, you know, Division I, and almost all of those will be major Power 5 schools. It's crazy the talent that's accumulated at those two places.
Josh, you going to get a chance to see Peyton Powell this weekend?
Yes, I'm going to go see on Thursday. We're recording on Wednesday, so tomorrow night I'll go see David Ugwoegbu, the kind of edge guy from Katy 7 Lakes that I keep hearing Oklahoma is getting more and more serious about finding a way to get him as part of the class. When he first kind of emerged for Oklahoma fans, it wasn't really clear whether OU was going to push the pedal real hard for him, but I think at this point he's an absolute take for Oklahoma. And then on Friday, going to see Peyton Powell from Odessa Permy, and really it's the one game I had a chance to go see him where I don't have to drive 12 hours across the state of Texas to go do it. So he's going to be playing South Lake Carroll, get to see 2020 offer R.J. Mickens that I've talked about before. I think OU's just kind of weighing out where they are with Mickens right now, but Powell is absolutely, from what I have gathered, their number one target at safety, and I think they would like to get him and just be done, really in the secondary, excluding if Dax Hill did, start to reopen contact, or if Chris Steele wanted to get on board. I mean, Oklahoma would take a guy, but it's got to be a really, really elite talent for them to open things up. If they got Peyton Powell, I think that would pretty much be it in the secondary.
All right, Bob, a lot of activity going on in basketball right now. What's the latest there?
Had a couple official visits last weekend with Jalen Graham. Davion Harmon was back for the 3rd straight weekend, and they had a 2020 unofficial from Eddie Lampkin, Devontae's brother.
Wow.
Seems almost like a lock for OU.
Wow.
At this point. So
I remember him tweeting about his brother every once in a while.
So that tells you no ill will toward Lampkin for OU, or OU toward the Lampkin family, because it seems like he's being...
Lon Kruger's thank you for not going psycho on him.
And then this week, despite the fact that OU football is on the road, basketball bringing in three more names: Tyson Etienne, Khalid Thomas, and Terry Armstrong. And I would wager to say, next time we record this, next Wednesday, Sooners will have at least one more commit, maybe 2. It is about time for those dominoes start falling. A lot of in-home visits over the weekend and throughout this week, and Lon Kruger, Chris Crutchfield, Carlin Hartman, they are ready to make their move.
They better damn well recruit with those facilities.
Yeah.
That Blake Griffin thing is ridiculous.
Jordan Brand.
It is still. I just have a hard time getting used to seeing a basketball player on the football uniforms. I mean, I know what it is. I'm not mad at it. It's just, it's the University of Oklahoma.
Aren't you supposed to look up at the sky when you're doing this and yell?
just raise a fist.
Yeah.
I
I think it looks pretty good.
It does, but it's like the whole CeeDee Lamb thing. They're trying to turn that into the Jumpman logo.
Oh yeah.
Like it's because you
Front
want to
page
see
of
a
the OU
football
Daily
player.
was pretty awesome. They did a
Yeah,
really
they
good
did a
job
great
with
job.
If you capture that photo, I mean, that's something you can keep with you for a long time.
Can you in this day and age?
that. Everybody just steals it. Yeah, you
Well,
never know
yeah,
who
but
took
you have
it.
the original.
It's not like that Stoops photo of him jumping over the line when Billy Sims was playing and Iowa came here. Like that thing was under lock and
Oh
key.
yeah.
You couldn't just
Color
steal
correcting a bunch of video and throwing it up on Twitter or something.
These shots
Pathetic.
today.
Just facts.
We got mark stuff. Okay. Iowa State coming up this weekend. We are heading up there Friday evening. Hopefully, pray to God we make it.
Long layover. St. Louis.
Yeah, thanks, Southwest.
How long?
Like 3.5 hours or so?
Ooh, I'm gonna get drunk.
Layovers go pretty quick, especially long ones. Iowa State's kind of antisocial. They just, our credentials just say Sooner Scoop on them.
It's like I've said it before. It's like going to a glorified high school stadium.
I like Jack Trice Stadium.
No, I think it's a great stadium. It's just like,
And their fans
as far
are
as
nuts.
as far as getting. Oh, I know they're nuts. They've sent us emails before. I wanted to try and find that. I couldn't ever find the email though.
That's been so long ago.
What year was that? That's what I was trying to figure out. Well, you look for it. If you're looking for it, I'll tell the story. But this lady sent Carey and Josh an email.
Found out that we were your bosses.
Yeah, they found out that they were my bosses and sent an email saying that I had ruined her game day experience for blocking the view of the Palm Squad. Which my reply was, listen here, bitch.
No, we wouldn't let him reply.
I just couldn't
we weren't
remember.
going to let you make it worse.
Couldn't remember what it was under. It was a good time, so I'll find it. If I find it, I'll put it on the board.
I'm pretty sure you sent it to the account that I'm looking in right now.
You remember the year?
That's what I'm trying to remember. I think it was, well, it would have had to have been an even year, right?
Yes.
I think it would have been probably 2012 or 2014. 2012 sounds right, though. Who knows?
If you guys can find something to talk about, I bet I could find it.
All right, I'll fill. So, yesterday I was thinking.
God,
No, I'm
that's a
just
bad
kidding.
idea.
I'm just kidding. Hey, Josh, are you still with us? Mr. McQuestion, are you still with us?
Why can't you say his name right?
He's not even there. He's not even listening. Wanted to
He
ask
just
him.
checked out once he got the recruiting segment. He was like, F this.
Finally.
Yeah, I wanted to ask him about Trajan Bridges' game the other weekend, but maybe not. Maybe not.
I found an email about the Rivals Radio campus report.
Wow, that's way back. That's way back in the folder.
I think it was me telling
Bob,
someone.
we can fill this
Eddie
time,
will do
though,
it
with
for you.
actual information. It was something that we talked about this morning, just as far as the chemistry deal on the defensive side of the ball. Do you think those were shots at Stephen Parker and Jordan Thomas? Maybe not Stephen Parker, but definite shot at Jordan Thomas, I thought.
Yeah, for sure. You know, Jordan Thomas and Parker came in together, so you almost wonder if they just kind of had the same mentality the entire way. Like, even though Steven didn't seem like a knucklehead the entire time, you don't know how much work he really put in compared to what Jordan Thomas was giving out, and how much different these guys' mindsets are because of what they saw before them the last couple of years. They realized that doesn't work. I mean, we don't watch enough film. Why the heck do we not do that? We don't communicate as well as we need to. Why are we not doing that? And it just seems like the younger guys are taking real ownership. It's like, wait a minute, we are the guys that can change this, so let's start doing that now.
Yeah, and I think that can only mean good things for the defense moving forward, just as far as it seems like they have some guys that maybe get it a little bit more than the last few seasons, if that's the nicest way to put it. I just think that it does feel like there's a different vibe, and that's something that we kind of hit on at the beginning of this podcast, was the fact that There's a lot of reasons to be optimistic. At the same time, realizing that the offenses that they played probably aren't, worth a damn, I think would probably be the best way to put it.
Well, that's going to be the issue. I mean, Kenneth Murray, Justin Broyles, Curtis Bolton, they're all saying the right things, exactly the way you want them to be said. But what's going to happen when adversity hits them? How are they going to bounce back? Do they start pointing fingers and saying, well, this guy's not doing his job, I'm doing just fine, it's that guy that can't get it all together? Or do they come together as a group and figure it out?
I found it.
What year was it?
2014.
That's a blowout year, too.
This is so great.
Hold on.
Victoria.
I got to see if I can find it.
Victoria from Minneapolis, Minnesota.
What was the name of the email?
Sooner Scoop Photographers.
What was the date exactly?
November 2nd, 2014.
11-2.
Can I put this on social media?
No.
Can I put it on the board?
No.
Why?
Oh.
I don't want that. This is no.
Victoria's probably dead. Let's
No.
be honest.
No.
She's probably dead.
It's not happening.
My name is Victoria. I'm a proud Iowa State alum and
Will you
Cyclone
forward
supporter.
it to me real quick?
I have attended ISU football games for almost 30 years now and have had the privilege of watching Oklahoma Sooners play on several occasions. They're a talented group of men with a legacy to be respected. I wish I could say the same about the Scoops reporters that covered the game. Our seats are in Section 4. We have fun watching the teams working in the end zone, as well as watching the ISU Spirit Squads work all the games, long to spur on the Cyclone team and fans with their energy and support. God, I love this so much. Yesterday, at the end of the opening ceremony, the end zone was lined with photographers, as is the case every week. Once the Spirit Squads come, they, including the Fox and ESPN TV crews, move to the corners and the sidelines, all except the two reporters from your agency. The girls were forced to alter their formations and or limit their dance routines because of your reporters. That was disheartening enough.
You're reading this like you're Butters from South Park.
But the utter disrespect for the girls was disgusting. During most of the second half, the photographer in the photos below stood in... Oh, yeah, she sent pictures. Below stood in front of our Spirit Squad texting! He wasn't even holding his camera. Had it opened once or twice. Maybe I would not have noticed, but when I hear the people in the stands around me commenting on it, it is so blatantly obvious and rude. Does your photographer realize that these Spirit Squad dancers provide or practice 10 to 14 hours per week? They perfect over 35 sideline routines, in addition to their pregame, quarter, halftime, and competition routines. They appear at football and basketball games, pep fests and dance competitions, and even events across the state and country. Their season runs year-round. When they are not practicing or performing at games or hooking up with all the players,
Stop it.
they are running clinics, attending camps, and shopping for dildos, developing future Spirit Squad dancers. All of this is in addition to their classes and homework. While they are not the football team, they are an important part of the football experience for us fans. To see them disrespected the way that your photographer did was frustrating and frankly sad. At the end of the game, I had to go down and find out who these men were. The photographer in the gray sweatshirt proudly told me he worked for you at Soonerscoop.com.
Proudly told me.
He even spelled it for me. So I guess he does possess some courtesy. I sincerely hope you will speak to your photographers about courtesy,
British as this
respect,
has gone along.
and common sense while having the privilege of being on the collegiate sidelines. They put a stain on the sleeve of the outstanding Oklahoma Sooners and your website. See photos and video below.
Oh, it's been stained for a while, lady.
Sincerely, Victoria, Minneapolis, Minnesota, Iowa State alumni and fan.
Somebody's mom. I think I actually had to write her back and just let her know that what you told me. They have. It's fine now, isn't it? Now that they've built that new facility.
Yeah, it's all. It's still
That's
tight
not a problem.
sidelines, but it's not. It's not like it used to be.
Those girls, I think, are over there. They're like on that concrete, aren't they? Like because the stands are so much further back.
Yes, I believe so. Iowa State's just kind of. It's a weird sideline.
All right. Well, I guess Josh had to go to swim class or something. So,
I guess it's over.
That's a perfect way to end.
When it's over, is it really over?
Will Eddie get hate mail from
We don't hear you, Josh.
people in Minnesota?
He says he's here, but he's not here. If you're here, then where are you?
That really is. It's not. That is a South Park voice. It's not Cartman.
It's like one of the townspeople.
Yes.
I did some
It's
voiceover.
like a city councilman.
I did some voiceover work for South Park in the mid 2000s. I don't have it on my resume.
You should get that on there. All right.
It has to be the easiest money somebody could make.
Any final thoughts from any of you jackals?
I don't think so.
Josh, just scream into the void.
He's not here. I think that you want to see how this team performs on the road. Obviously, Kyler Murray, his first road start in an Oklahoma uniform. Technically, you want to see if the defense can continue doing what they've done. But there's a lot of positives on that side of the ball, and I think that I want to say it's different than in years past, just because of the way that they play to the eye when you watch it. It is different. It looks different. The way that it looks like they're more violent. It looks like they're faster, obviously.
Yeah.
But there's still a lot to prove.
If you're hopeful that Austin Kendall will be back, I think you have reason to be hopeful.
I think that there's a chance that he could be available on Saturday and still not play, if that makes sense. Like, if they get a big lead, why not just toss Tanner Mordecai or whoever out there?
Yep.
But, yeah, I think the biggest question is what happens to that running back rotation.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't work, or Trey Sermon just looks like a guy that is best coming in from the bullpen, it'll be interesting to see kind of what they do.
And I would say that,
wouldn't be surprised if Kennedy Brooks gets some looks here or there either.
It's the same situation that they've been at in every other position. When you have a lot of depth, you don't worry about it. But all of a sudden, if they were to have another injury, you're in a bad spot. You're in a really bad spot.
Yeah, it's not
especially
ideal.
if it's Trey Sermon. So they need everybody to stay healthy. And
Trey Sermon is the one guy they have that actually makes them legitimate. I mean, size, strength, speed. I mean, that 17-yard touchdown run he had against FAU was impressive.
It was a great run. But it seemed like he made the decision to get north-south quicker, and I think that's what got him in trouble last week against UCLA. He danced a little too much in the hole, and if you can just get north-south, he's going to be fine. He's big enough that he can break any tackle. I think he led the country in broken tackles last year.
I also think it'll be interesting, like you said, between Marquise Brown, CeeDee Lamb, see which one kind of takes over this game. Are they both able to do some things? How does Iowa State kind of approach that?
And if they do, does Grant Calcaterra show up?
Yeah, I mean, like he's got to at some point get involved. And it's not because... Grant Calcaterra is not getting the ball because Kyler Murray's not throwing the ball over the middle of the field. He's actually impressed me with his ability to make throws over the middle of the field. I mean, the touchdown to Lee Morris, that was right down the middle of the field. So he's not having any issues completing passes down the seam to Grant Calcaterra if he wants to.
I think it'll come. It's kind of like the CeeDee Lamb thing a week ago. Eventually it's going to come. They're going to have to go use different...
Stop throwing to A.D. Miller so much and get it to Calcaterra.
In a way, it seems like they've been pretty vanilla through 2 games as well. They haven't really done a whole lot of...
They haven't been tested a whole lot.
Yeah, so it'll come. Everybody wants to see it the first week, and then if they used it the first week, they'd say, well, why'd they use it against them?
Iowa State will play the umbrella. If I have to listen to any more umbrella questions, I might snap.
Yeah, you would have thought that they would have been able to run the ball better.
They ran that damn umbrella defense against everybody that year, and no one else was like, it wasn't the magical defense. Like, they ran that crap against OSU, too, and they shredded them.
Yeah. It'll come.
OU just had a bad day that day.
It was a very bad day. And like we said at the beginning of the podcast, if OU scores to go up 31-17, they don't lose that game.
By the way, did you notice, like, when OU released their video, like their number 8 in the series or whatever, they had the post game, and Lincoln Riley was talking about, it's a big game this week. It's a chance for us to go out and, you know, I don't know exactly the words, but he basically said, like, right the wrong from last year or whatever. When the whole time in the media's been like, oh, if we need that for motivation, we're a bunch of idiots.
What?
Yeah.
Did you see that?
Well, I understand.
I must have missed it.
I understand what you're saying. I haven't watched that video.
And he just goes, what? Like, crazy.
I haven't watched that video, but yeah, when he talked post-game Saturday, he was saying that can't be your only motivation.
Yeah.
Well,
but
you're in real trouble.
In the locker room, he was like,
oh,
big game this week. You know, coming up. Got a chance to go right or wrong from last year.
Probably didn't know that OU was going to put it out on blast.
Well, when you're doing that much video, you're bound to contradict yourself at some point.
Yeah, maybe he just doesn't care.
And remember, lad, they lost Adams, Lamb, Stephen Parker all in the first half of that game.
I forgot they lost Stephen Parker.
Yeah. Never watched film anyway, so it doesn't matter.
All right. That's going to do it. Thanks to Josh, who is still on the line, but is still screaming in the void. Bob, you have one. You want to take one last shot at Josh before you get out of here?
Not this week. I'll save it for later.
He's wearing a Cubs hat, so you know he's kind of arrogant right now. Eddie, thank you very much. Thank you, Bob. Thank you, Josh. Even though you can't say anything to us,
I'll pass along Josh's DM. You, Bob, was the.
He did say that.
Was the direct quote. That's what we do here.
We got out of this pod without mentioning Jason Kersey this week for some reason.
Well, you just did. I guess he got his way.
We heard Eric Bailey. Go read Jason Kersey's Netflix and Chill article with CD Lamb. All right, that's going to do it. We'll see you guys back here next week for the Unofficial 40, but don't forget the Eskridge Lexus post-game show from Ames, Iowa. We're going to bust our asses and give you a podcast while we're on the road this year, thanks to Eskridge Lexus, our official travel partner. So go to iTunes, Google Play Store, wherever you need to go, Stitcher, and subscribe to that podcast, the Oklahoma Sooners post-game from Soonerscoop.com. You'll see it in all of those stores. Just Oklahoma Sooners post game from Soonerscoop.com. So thanks, everybody, for listening. We'll see you back here same time next week on the Unofficial 40.
Podcasts from Soonerscoop.com.